From the campus of Virginia Tech, this is the ACC on ESPN. Tonight, the #6 Duke Blue Devils trying to rebound from a hard, close loss to Maryland on Saturday, but inside another hostile environment here in Blacksburg. Dave O'Brien alongside Doris Burke. Great to have you with us. We look at the lineups now. Mason Plumlee coming off a very difficult day Saturday, but he's gotten some rest. Cook and Suleiman combined for 34 in a loss at Maryland. For the Hokies now, Rankin, Eddy, Raines, and Barksdale all struggled to score. And the Hokies shoot just 42%, 33% from three. So they need Eric Green to have a big game. Mike Krzyzewski right there at 949 career wins, 876 over 33 years as the Duke Blue Devils head coach, and up against the younger head coach James Johnson in his first year, former Army National Guard squad leader, who is promoted from the Hokie staff to the top job. Nice environment, a lot of energy here tonight.
The Virginia Tech record a bit deceptive in this way. They've played 3 of the top 4 ACC schools. Single-digit losses to North Carolina State and Miami, and an overtime loss to North Carolina. This is their first look at Duke.
Plumlee up for that tip, but saved by Virginia Tech, and the Hokies have the ball. They've lost 8 consecutive games. But of course, this is Duke, and the Blue Devils tend to bring out everybody's best. Here's Eric Green averaging 25 a game to lead the country. Jarrell Eddy bouncing here for Rankin. He's a sophomore from Charlotte. Green, a very good three-point shooter as well, but is there a shot he can't hit?
He's got everything in his arsenal.
Eddy on the drive, slices in for the basket, a hard move all the way.
Well, if you talk to the Duke staff, Jarrell Eddy is one guy they're concerned with. You know Eric Green's going to score, we're going to get a foul away from the ball, but Jarrell Eddy has been up and down. He has a history of being able to score in the ACC. He gets out of the gate strong in a drive here.
Raines picks up the foul. Here's Eddy's numbers, 13 points per game, but as Doris said, you can tell, 41% shooter. He can run very hot and cold. Up top for Cook. He calls out a play for Duke. They come in 22-3, 9-3 in the ACC. Still an outside chance to win the conference, but that would take a big-time Miami falter. Plumlee in the lane, and he's walking with it.
That's important. One of the things that Virginia Tech has talked about is making him catch it outside the A area. Well, he caught it in what they consider to be the B or C area. The A area is 2 feet near the rim. If Plumlee scores or catches there, he's going to score it. If you can push him out a little bit, he's far less effective.
We came into the arena to watch Duke shoot around this morning at 10:45. Mike Krzyzewski was already in the gym. He saw all the orange T-shirts laying over the student section chairs. He said, oh, Duke must be in town, because everybody does that. Here's Barksdale. Knocks it down. 4-0, Virginia Tech. C.J. Barksdale with a bucket. Suleiman trying to make a move in the lane. Nice spin. Blocked by Eddy. Duke gets it back. Shot clock at 20. Curry, a little step back. One of his patented moves, and he knocks down the three.
Well, this is the guy. This is exactly what he did against Maryland on Saturday. Duke was slow out of the gate. He steadied the troops by making shots. Curry is never sped up. He's going to play at his pace, Dave, no matter what.
And of course, the place where his father starred. His dad Dell is here tonight to watch him. Along with his mom Sonia. Barksdale gives it up into the corner for Green. Rankin swings it. Barksdale trying to drive, held up by Harrison and fouled right around the top of the key.
Well, we talk about what a great scorer Eric Green is, #1 in the country. Mike Krzyzewski feels like if this guy were healthy, he would have an opportunity to lead the country in scoring. And Dad, yeah, that's a pretty move, son.
Green can't get the shot off. Now he will. They have forced that one, but the rebound comes right to Virginia Tech. Plumlee with the block. He was all over Raines. Duke will have the ball, 17:38 to play in the half.
Well, with Rankin in the starting lineup, what's interesting is you've put Rashid Suleiman on Eric Green, so you've got length and athleticism.
Suleiman had an outstanding second half against Maryland. Curry did too, and his second three-pointer tonight. So he is off to a quick start, 2 for 2 beyond the three-point line.
Just so fast. His release is so fast. If you're not there on the catch, he's going to make you pay.
Turned over, Cook with it. Now looking for some help. He waits for the Blue Devils to come back. Hairston setting the screen. Curry on the dribble. And a shove there. Foul on Virginia Tech, and a personal will go against Rankin. Marquise Rankin, the sophomore, picks up his first.
Virginia Tech's going to have to be solid with the basketball, and it's not been a strength of theirs all year. Of the guys who play legit minutes for James Johnson, only Eric Green has a really solid assist-to-turnover ratio.
Quick release there by Curry, but no shot made. Green in transition, gives it up for the long one, and off target. Rankin misfiring. Plumlee for the rebound. Duke dropped from number 2 to number 6 after the loss to Maryland. And a whistle away from the basketball, and the foul will go against Virginia Tech in the lane. It's Rankin again. That's his second in about a half a minute.
Well, and the team's third, so the fouls are piling up through the first several minutes. You could see the effect of Curry, right? He's going to work here. You're going to have to run off a lot of screens. You're going to have to be there on the catch. But he can also draw some contact.
And there's a lot of contact away from the basketball here in the opening minutes. A lot of pushing and shoving. Another foul against the Hokies.
It's 4. I mean, listen, coaches will start coaching differently if you get into the early bonus. You're going to look to go to the rim.
Duke, a very, very good foul shooting team at 72%. So we'll keep an eye on that as we get close to the bonus. 6-4 Duke. Suleiman down low, Cook and lays it up and in. Nicely run by the Blue Devils.
That's part of their horn set and a little UCLA cut. Just a mistake on the initial look. Not a good start there by Virginia Tech defensively.
And another whistle, and this one again stops the clock at 16:09. Suleiman in there. They're going to get Cook with that foul. 8-4. The Blue Devils with the lead. One thing that Mike Krzyzewski was not real happy about was the plethora of whistles in the second half of the Maryland game. So many stops. That's an offensive foul. The charge, and Duke will take over.
I thought that was a flop. I think in the NBA that'd be called a violation. Maybe a fine if it was Mr. Hairston's second or third flop.
Eddie with the personal. And so the Blue Devils to put it in. Duke has beaten Virginia Tech 4 in a row, although they tend to be very, very close.
Yes.
That's typically the way it is whenever the Blue Devils play, though. They get everybody's best shot. Cook up top for Suleiman. Driving on Eddie, and thought he was going to cut. He thought Cook would go to the corner, and he threw it away. So we have a timeout. 15:47 to go here in the first half. In Blacksburg, 8-4, the Blue Devils. Well, Duke with the early lead here on the road at Virginia Tech. The Hokies dropped an overtime decision in Raleigh last weekend. They've already played 4 overtime games. There have been a total of 6 overtime decisions in the ACC all season, and they have 4 of them.
Now down the stretch of that basketball game against NC State, Eric Green had to make the first free throw, then miss the second. He missed it perfectly. I mean, you talk about the nation's leading scorer making shots. Well, he had to miss one perfectly for his teammate to get the rebound off the missed free throw to put it to overtime. This guy delivered it.
Well, so far, Green has only attempted 1 shot. The top scorer in the NCAA. We'll see if he gets rolling here. He's only been held under 20 points twice all season.
As Duke pushes up into pressure, a little 2-2-1.
Eddie across to Brown. Robert Brown, a sophomore, will take over at the point.
Into man-to-man defense, and Suleiman stays on Eric Green. Good switch out there by Hairston.
Green with tremendous range out to the logo, bumped and fouled by Hairston.
That's just smart basketball. That is a seasoned player right there, understanding that the big man switched out, so I'm going to attack his feet and pick up his second foul. Smart.
So he has to go to the bench. And the youngster Emil Jefferson, the freshman from Philadelphia, comes on for Mike Krzyzewski. Tech inbounds it very quickly. Off target by Van Zegeren. He's a big, a 6'10" freshman from the Netherlands. Here's Cook to lift. Got it. Three-pointer. Duke, the best three-point shooting team in the conference, and off to a great start there tonight. It's
amazing how much more offensive-minded Quinn Cook is this year. And you think about the absence of Ryan Kelly. That means they need his productivity offensively.
See there, the Blue Devils have tried three from three. They've made three. Green trying to get on track. He's hitting 44% beyond the three-point line in ACC play. 44%.
That's drawing the best defender and multiple defenders.
Grounded and knocked away. Tight D by the Blue Devils. They force the turnover. On top 11-4. And Virginia Tech is not the kind of team that recovers from deficits well. So they can't afford to get in a giant hole. Jefferson with a tough shot, forced it. Green out of the pack. Driving pass, Thornton will lay it in.
See his explosive speed. And that is where he gets an awful lot of his points. He can leak out, sprint into the three-point line, or get right to the rim. They needed that one.
Curry, a lot of open space and drains it. All net. Boy, early on, he is brewing for a big night, isn't he?
He's so smooth. His release is so fast. And Robert Brown wasn't within 3 feet on the catch.
Well, with his dad watching, the place where his father was a great star. He's really cooking early. Green, airborne, yes. Just another little slice of his game.
He works very hard on that floater. This is a guy who gets in the gym every single day. He was plus 20,000 makes over the course of the summer. Paid the price, Eric Green, to be good.
Curry got in the air, bounced the pass for Cook, got it off. Approaching 13 minutes to go first half. It's Cook to lift. That clangs away. Cook's coming off good offensive games, back-to-back. 18 points against Carolina, 18 against Maryland. Barksdale on the baseline. Now draws it out a bit. Green's trying to get away from Cook.
Look where he forces him to catch it. So once Eric Green gives it up, you can see Duke wants to limit the catch on the way back.
Green at the foul line, a jump shot, yes.
Oh, man, look out. So that's why they want to deny it, because if you let him catch it, he can get separation in all kinds of ways.
Is it this simple? If he has a big night, they have a chance to be close at the end. And if not, they have no chance.
Correct. Absolutely correct.
And he has their last 6. And the Hokies are starting to get it going on the offensive end. 12:22 to go in the first half. Now Green will take a bit of a breather here. Averaging 25 points per game, #1 in America.
It's smart. I mean, this guy has played heavy minutes. He gets multiple and quality defenders every night. So sneak in a rest because you know a TV timeout is coming.
And the ACC is playing 37 minutes game, so that will not be a long sit for him. Reigns spins on Plumlee. Plumlee denied him and tied him up. And on a possession arrow, Duke will have the ball. Great stop by Mason Plumlee.
Well, this guy's an outstanding athlete. He's working hard to stay between his man and the basket, and just watch him. He recovers nicely. Lateral quickness right there by Mason Plumlee.
And I love the justice of it. They got the possession arrow.
Yeah.
Curry up top, Suleiman open. He can drain that, and he does. A three-pointer, nothing but net.
Yeah, see, everyone's margin for error. Suleiman has to score. Cook has to score. Without Ryan Kelly, you have got to have contributions outside of Curry and Plumlee.
7-point lead for Duke. And we welcome you to Blacksburg, Virginia. The Duke Blue Devils on our Thursday night showcase presented by T. Rowe Price, taking on Virginia Tech. And until that shot, the Duke Blue Devils had not missed a three-pointer. Seth Curry and company scalding hot out of the gate. Of course, on the court where his father was a big star, Del Curry, who's watching tonight from the stands along with his mom, Sonia. Duke up by 7. Duke trying to bounce back from a tough loss over the weekend.
Well, just like he did on the road at Maryland, even though they lost the game, when his team was struggling to score early, Seth Curry made sure he delivered. That was his first made 3. Little separation. This time his teammates help him. He curls off the screen, and it is a timely pass, and they do this dribble handoff so well. Dribble handoff, one of the more difficult things, believe it or not, to guard.
But there's Dell along with Sonia taking in this basketball game. He was a great player here at Virginia Tech, an outstanding guard. They remember him very, very fondly from back in the early 1980s on this very court. Great to have you with us tonight here in Blacksburg. I'm Dave O'Brien along with Doris Burke. A lot of people might look at this game and say, well, there's Duke, number 2 in the conference, still with a chance to run down Miami, and they still play Miami at Cameron Indoor. In the basement of the ACC, you find Virginia Tech, they've lost 8 in a row, so it's no contest, right?
Coaches don't think that way. The only thing the Duke coaches know is Virginia Tech has played 3 of the top 4 teams in the ACC. Single-digit losses to North Carolina State and to Miami, and an overtime loss to North Carolina. This is their first look at Duke, and they come in with very little pressure. They're not playing with the weight of expectation, and they have the nation's leading scorer. And you said it perfectly. If Eric Green has a big game, they can stay in this ball game because the nation's leading scorer gets an awful lot of shots per game. He's up around 19. And look at the ways they create space for him. This one off an inbounds play where they run and get some separation with the screen. This time he creates it himself. A little step back move, challenged by Mr. Lewis a little bit late. You guard him bigger with Rodney Purvis. He simply spins off him, goes between multiple defenders. Duke's strategy tonight, they want to take away his threes and his free throws if possible.
So our game recap will show you what you have missed to this point with Duke on top 17-10. Duke finally missed a 3 after going 5 for 5 to begin it. Curry has 9. Green has 6 after a kind of slow start, but leading America in scoring at 25 points per game. Only twice all season has Eric Green been held below 20 points.
Well, what an extraordinary season. And when you talk Conference Player of the Year, this guy has to be in the mix. And I know his team's finish will probably hurt him. You have to look at a guy like Shane Larkin at Miami. If they go undefeated, he is the straw that stirs the drink. And you have to look at Mason Plumlee.
Now Plumlee was exhausted on Saturday as Duke played their 4th game in 10 days. He managed only 4 points.
And how about Seth Curry? How about Seth Curry in the discussion for Player of the Year in the conference?
Well, no doubt. Now, he should have been just as tired, but he wound up with 25 against Maryland. He kept Duke in it right to the final buzzer. So Virginia Tech with the ball. They're 11-14, 2-10 in the conference. They've lost 8 straight. Shot clock is down to 5. Green gives it up. Here's Eddie. Off target, short. Raines went up for the rebound. Batted away, but he wins it back in a new shot clock for the Hokies. Will Johnston will fire at an open look. A very good three-point shooter. That's an over-the-back foul by Marshall Wood of the Hokies. 2 big games on ESPN Saturday at 4. NC State battling North Carolina. Always a dandy. Then at 9, Missouri taking on Kentucky. That's a huge game for Kentucky.
Well, obviously, they're trying to find their legs without their best defensive player, Nerlens Noel. And you wonder if that young man comes out. A historically weak NBA draft. You've got to believe that college basketball is going to lose a lot of players that maybe in a different year they might not lose.
Well, I saw Joe Lunardi had Kentucky as one of the last 4 out of the NCAA tournament, so that may be a must-win for them. Plumlee with the hook, nicely done over the shoulder.
So much of his effectiveness is based on where he catches it. If you allow him 2 feet in the lane close to the rim, he's so hard to guard.
Now, that was almost 10 minutes into the first half, Doris. He finally scored his first points, but Duke leads by 9. And again, Virginia Tech not the kind of team that can afford to get in a sizable hole because they can't shoot their way out of it. That's going to be a blocking foul on Plumlee. Into the hands of Sedarian Raines, number 1 on Plumlee.
Well, watch where Duke delivers the basketball. He just backs down Sedarian Raines. A nice soft jump hook. Nicely done. No help comes, he makes them pay.
Plumlee, the number 2 scorer, number 2 rebounder in the conference. Look at what he did on Saturday. A very difficult day for him. Already has Almost as many rebounds tonight.
Alex Len flat out outplayed him, and there were stretches where Mike Krzyzewski went without him, went with a very small lineup against Maryland.
Hokies get it in, but nearly throw it away. Suleiman went for it. He knocked it out of bounds. So it'll be Hokies basketball with 9:48 to go.
One of the things Duke is doing is they can switch on the perimeter to prevent Eric Green catches, whether it's Thornton or Cook or Suleiman. All of those three guards on any screen, they can switch out.
Here's Green with it. Thornton trying to stick with it. Plumlee came out to help. Barksdale went down. Green's got it, slams it. And a whistle as well on the play with 9:34 to go in the half. Now, Mike Krzyzewski wanted a walk, I think, on Barksdale.
Looks like he gets it off before he travels with the basketball. That play, though, despite Eric Green not being involved, was because of Eric Green, okay? Plumlee is hedging so hard, he forces a switch, and that's why those two guys get inside.
No three-point play. They got Cook for the foul. A scramble. The ball caught in the ankles there of Thornton loose. Another mad scramble. Finally a tie-up, and the Hokies will have the basketball. Fast and furious, and bodies hitting the deck here.
Some emotion from James Johnson over there on the sideline. He has got these guys playing hard. Love that Thornton is the first to hit the deck, but he can't come up with it. Look at all those bodies.
Duke by 7. James Johnson, first-year head coach. And trying to snap a long losing skid. Barksdale went in strong and too strong. That's an offensive foul.
Ooh, that was close, boy. I thought Hairston came in late.
Foul on C.J. Barksdale, the 6'8" sophomore, his first.
Well, we get the benefit of the second look. He realizes it pretty quickly. Does he get set? See, I know he's outside, but I thought he was moving.
I agree with you. I think he was still in motion.
But we get the slow-mo. That helps.
Plumlee calling for it on the low block, working on Raines. The dish out, long one, Thornton, yes! And the threes keep coming for the Blue Devils. 6 out of 7.
They make over 8 per game. And that's one thing Virginia Tech talked about, pushing up and preventing some of those three-point opportunities.
Well, how about nearly 90% and more than halfway into the first half from three-point distance. Green went to the dribble and drew the foul.
That's 7 now. So both teams with a long way to go in this half.
A long way.
Shoot some free throws.
8:45 left. Foul number 3 on Cook. So Quinn Cook has to go to the bench here for a long sit.
And that's big because Thornton is a very good defensive player, brings some toughness, but he does not have the scoring capabilities of this guy.
So it'll be Green at the line, an excellent foul shooter, 81%. The 6'4" senior. Again, Virginia Tech already shooting 1-on-1s here. The other part of Green's game that I think sometimes gets overlooked because of all the scoring, and it's dazzling. 125-point game after another. He's a fine rebounder for a 6'4" guard.
No question. And he's in the top 10 in assists in the league. He's coming off an 8-assist, 29-point effort against NC State.
Again, only BYU and North Carolina have held him under 20. Just came up 29 against NC State. Curry dumping it down. Hairston got that one to go. A lot of iron, but it rolled in.
He could roll to the rim and duck in.
Green with a blow-by, the 15-footer. Looking for the quick strike. Plumlee tears down the rebound.
He doesn't miss many of those. That's, to me, that's where you've got to start to limit Green, because in transition he is fast up the floor.
And if anything, James Johnson, as we have another whistle here, foul against Virginia Tech. If anything, James Johnson wants him to take more shots.
Yes.
And to be a little less unselfish. Foul will go against Johnston. Will Johnston's first. And James Johnson, former Army National Guard squad leader, promoted from the Hokies coaching staff to the top job in May. He then won his first 7 games.
19-year veteran on 9 different staffs. He's got some solid mentors in his background. 5-year assistant to Seth Greenberg. and very well liked on campus.
His predecessor, Seth Greenberg, now with us at ESPN, called the overtime game right in front of ours tonight here on ESPN. These are the first foul shots for the Blue Devils tonight. With Curry at the line, it's 82%. Now Mason Plumlee will take a seat. His brother Marshall into the lane to rebound. 10 for Curry. 11.
Duke actually has taken fewer free throws than their opponents in ACC play. They shoot a lot of threes. Mason Plumlee, their most effective guy, gets to the free throw line.
Reach and foul by Plumlee. Marshall's first, and we have a timeout. 7:54 to go in the half. When we come back, we'll talk about the Kelly effect. Ryan Kelly and how soon he may return for Duke. Duke on top 26-14 here at Virginia Tech. That man in the middle, Ryan Kelly, you see what they've done without him. They've gone 7-3. Of course, 15-0 with him. That wasn't against the list of cupcakes either.
No, and the bottom line is the most interesting to me, because you wouldn't look at Ryan Kelly and his game and his size and the things he brings on the offensive end and think great defender. But he's an excellent communicator. And for Duke fans out there, when we went to practice this morning, Mike Krzyzewski seemed far more optimistic about a return for Ryan Kelly, talking about he's running in the pool.
He's off crutches.
He's off crutches. And I've said this all along, Dave. It's not just will they get him back, it's when they get him back. You've got to have some repetition, because once again you will reshape your team and reincorporate him on the offensive end.
Without him, can they win a national championship?
I don't think so.
With him, you believe they can?
Absolutely. I think Michigan, Indiana, teams of that nature have too much offense for Duke to win it without him.
Thornton off to Harrison, and lined it up, got a good look, and he knocked down the 2. Until that point, 18 of Duke's previous 26 points came from the three-point area.
Full court man-to-man pressure, and Suleiman back in the game to try to deal with Eric Green.
Curry on Robert Brown, 6'5" sophomore. Off for Green, shot clock at 15. Green, a senior now out of Winchester, Virginia. Lost the dribble. Here's Eddie. He's averaging 13 a game. He runs very hot and cold. Shot clock down to 4. Eddie with a long forced shot. Rebound. And it'll be a Virginia Tech ball here. Nicely done on the baseline by Van Zegren. But Virginia Tech can't hit anything beyond the three-point line. They're 0 for 5.
Yeah, it's been brutal. You know, Eddie is the most likely scorer after Eric Green, but boy, they have scuffled from the other spots.
Green off the inbounds. Can't nail it. Duke looking for their 10th win in conference play. Curry back over the shoulder to Harrison. Now Plumlee determined to the other side, lays it in. And a timeout, Virginia Tech. Johnson takes one here as Duke has bolstered the lead to 15.
Well, Mason Plumlee did not get off to a fast start, but he's been effective on the catch. Looks like he might be in some trouble initially, but this is why he's attracted to the next level. Nimble on his feet at 6'10".
Well, almost 7 minutes to go here in the first half, but is Virginia Tech already in a danger zone here?
No, there's no doubt. There's no doubt. It's primarily because their ineffectiveness scoring the basketball outside of Eric Green. You can see the last 6+ minutes.
I would say Mason Plumlee looks refreshed.
Yeah.
6 rebounds and 2 blocks, along with 4 points. And another block for him. There's his 3rd in the first half.
Well, Steve Wojciechowski is his position coach, and Mike Krzyzewski is his head coach. I guarantee you, after his performance at Maryland, there were some discussions had and practice work done.
You know, he's a very classy and stand-up guy. He put that game on himself.
Yes.
Pitcher said, I think we'll keep it. Blinding foul on the baseline here, 5:56 to go. 15-point lead for the Blue Devils. Well, ESPN's Journey to the Tourney is a season-long spotlight on games impacting the tournament. Saturday at 6 on ESPN. Creighton takes on St. Mary's. That's part of the Ramada Worldwide Bracket Busters.
Well, forget about Bracket Busters. If you're a college basketball fan and you haven't seen Doug McDermott play, you have to watch the guy. He is really fun to watch.
Now Josh Harrison at the line where he scuffles just 60%, and he makes the first. 31-15. Under Mike Krzyzewski, Duke is 11-3 against Virginia Tech. And trying to make it 5 straight wins over the Hokies. He makes them both look very smooth on those. Jefferson coming back on. Harrison will head to the bench.
This is a game where Emil Jefferson can fit. Where against Maryland and the kinds of bodies they could throw at him up front, he did not fit.
So he played sparingly. Harrison actually had a very solid 11-point game, season high, against the Terps. 32-15. And starting to get away from the Hokies in front of a near sellout here in Blacksburg. They need Eric Green on the drive. Brown dishing it down low for the stuff. Van Zegeren with the stuff, the 6'10 freshman. Suleiman trying to penetrate, got hung up. He couldn't make the shot. Plumlee missed it on the tip. Around the back by Eddie. Some nifty dribbling to get free. And now here's Green. He wants to take it inside. Van Zegeren, once again harassed by Plumlee, who's played tremendous interior defense.
Boy, his activity level is so high. He's playing so hard.
Not only a handful of blocks, but a number of altered shots as well for Plumlee. Here he is on the high post for the Blue Devils. A handoff for Curry. Been quiet lately after a scalding hot start. He's bumped and fouled as he went to take that baseline.
Well, at 6'10", Mason Plumlee runs the floor north to south very well. You can see the attention given to Eric Green, and he gets a step, and that causes the rotation. And the same guy that came off to help him rotate was the same guy that caused the mishap.
Curry will be at the line. Third foul on Van Zegeren, by the way, so he's in trouble. Curry number 5 all time in foul shooting percentage at Duke. Will Johnston coming on for Virginia Tech. 11 for Curry.
As we approach this 4-minute timeout, do you take Eric Green out if you get another dead ball? Mom's not looking at the free throws?
For him, it's almost a lock. 34-17. So Duke has doubled up the Hokies. Green trying to make a move. The fall away. Can't drain that. High tip. Tipped again. Plumlee there. So nothing falling for the Hokies. And they're in serious trouble. Duke, on the other hand, hitting 65%. The handoff for Curry. He'll shoot this three. Got it.
Twice. I mean, they've run that exact play twice. I've heard NBA coaches tell me one of the hardest things to deal with is the dribble handoff. You think it's such simple action. But boy, if you get caught underneath the handoff, you're in trouble. With Seth Curry, you know, you got to jump to him as he makes his cut.
He's made 4 out of 5 from 3-point territory. The jump hook, a pretty shot by Raines, the 6'9" junior out of Petersburg, Virginia. He's their best rebounder. They don't get a lot of scoring from him.
Yeah, I think there's potential in there for him. He's got a nice little up and under move. He's got obviously a great frame for it.
Curry catches, fires, and it's in and out. Hokies trying to push the tempo up ahead to Robert Brown here. 3:19 to go in the half. And Curry will commit the foul before the shot. So we have a timeout. 3:18 to go in the half. Duke up big, 37-19 on the road.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is presented by T. Rowe Price. understanding the connections of a complex global economy. Invest with confidence. And in part by Wendy's, proud sponsor of the 2013 John R. Wooden Men's Player of the Year Award. And the Experience Buick Lease. It's a new lease on luxury.
Coming up on the UPS Halftime Report, Chris Cotter here. I'll be joined by Jay Williams and Coach Purr. We'll take a look at Saturday's slate. A lot of bubble teams. NC State, Kentucky, Arkansas as well. We had a nail-biter earlier today at Bud Walton. We'll look at that. And speaking of bubbles, Cal sitting on one. We'll update you on the Bears' progress at Oregon over on the Deuce on the UPS Halftime Report. Dave?
Chris, thank you very much. Seth Curry with 16 points already. Of course, his dad, Dell, great start here at Virginia Tech. Seth and Stephen Curry, the highest scoring brother tandem in NCAA history. So a game of horse at the Currys must have taken a month to finish.
I think the Hokie fans reacted quite differently to Seth scoring than to Papa scoring.
Yeah, I think so. He's doing a lot of it. Brown at the line.
I'm impressed by the efficiency. You know, he's 4 for 4 from the free throw line. He's 4 for 5 from 3, Seth Curry. And again, we've harped on it every time we've had Duke, but this is a guy who can't practice. Shooters love repetition. They love to go game speed. And Seth Curry gets none of that.
Jarrell Eddy back on the floor for the Hokies. Curry was 16 by himself. Virginia Tech as a team with 21. So the Blue Devils in a real comfort zone. Plumlee pulls in strong and draws the foul. He's hit by Raines, the 6'9" junior. That'll be number 2 on Raines.
What do you notice about Mason Plumlee? It's different. Everything he's done tonight has been quick. He's a guy that if he's got to catch it on the box and think about it too much, think about which move am I going to, and there's his mentor, Steve Wojciechowski. He has a harder time. Whereas if he's catching the ball and making quick decisions, he's so much better.
And so much more explosive than he was against Maryland.
How about his line tonight? 6 points, 8 boards, 3 blocks, and 3 assists. I wouldn't want Steve Wojciechowski mad at me. I know that.
I think he's been far better on the defensive end.
Yeah, oh, no doubt.
Greater impact there. And he's been no slouch on the offensive end tonight. 2:47 to go before half. Raines working on Plumlee. Got him airborne and he laid it in. Nice move by Sedarian Raines.
Yeah, oh, smart. First of all, he's got the frame to deal with Mason Plumlee. He can hold his own physically. And, you know, he's such a good shot blocker. You've got to sell him on something.
Curry bouncing for Jefferson. Shreds the D and banks it in. A very quick step.
He's got potential. You know, he needs a summer to put on some weight. He needs a summer to find a go-to offensive skill. But Emil Jefferson, before it's said and done, is going to be an outstanding player.
Duke continues to shoot the ball exceptionally well. 41-23. Eddy, who struggles beyond the three-point line, just 41%. Picked away. Jefferson gave it right back, though, as Green scooped up the loose ball. Under 2 before halftime. Jefferson out to guard the #1 scorer in the country. Green poked away. Suleiman stayed home, and he'll be rewarded on the other end with a stop.
I tell you, Duke's team defense has been outstanding all night. They're not guarding Eric Green with 1 guy. They're guarding Eric Green with 5 guys. Everybody's sitting down in held position. Their switches are on time. Really well done defensively.
Green has 8 points. This might be the second time, or the third time this season he's held below 20 points. Second time in the ACC. Here's Green up and over, and he makes it. He'll go to the line as well. On the other hand, he can do that.
Yes.
Inside and outside.
Well, one of the things you have to do if you are a great scorer is play hard on the offensive end. Look at how hard he runs into that pass.
His first field goal in over 11 minutes. His mom is going to text about that tomorrow in the house.
She was an outstanding player at Howard University and actually coached her son. And think about this, folks. Eric Green was 2.9 points, 29% shooting as a freshman. He said, that year, I became a gym rat. Little humble pie will help you.
Yep, what a variety of shots. All that work is produced. Curry, blocked out of the sky by Eddy. Gets it back and fires again. A three-pointer. So block his two-pointer, but you can't stop his three-pointer.
I think a technical foul maybe on Seth Curry and maybe a double technical on a couple of guys here. Let's see.
Well, there was some conversation after that basket. 1:01 before halftime. And we'll take a look. 46-26. This is the whole play through.
Gets blocked first, relocates, gets beyond the three-point line. Now, do we have an angle of what he said here?
Well, it's going to put Green at the line to shoot the technical. That was just on Seth Curry, so not a double technical. And yep, chatting away with Jarrell Eddy, who blocked the shot.
Okay, a technical foul for that?
Well, we have no idea what he said. But from that angle, it looked very innocent. I think you're right.
He said, I'm a bad man. I got 19 points. I don't know what he said, but it looked pretty minor.
It did. We're not going to search for the audio, by the way.
No.
Jumper from the corner, and that won't drop for Eddy. And another whistle, a foul here against Virginia Tech with 43.7 seconds. Well, that's the only thing that's gone wrong for Seth Curry here in the first half. And his final game in his dad's gym. And a 46-28 lead. It'll be Jefferson at the line.
Michael Jordan might have had 3,000 technicals.
Yeah, that's pretty close to the truth, I think. Well, look at father and son. It's pretty extraordinary stuff. And here's the most interesting thing, I think, of this. I mean, Curry, just in case you missed Dell's career, 4 three-pointers made, but he only took, what?
7.
7.
He was 4 for 7. And remember, some conferences went to it, some didn't. Rick Pitino was the first one to really embrace it. Yeah. Now, Mike Krzyzewski has been one of the best at utilizing it over the long haul as well.
At that time, Virginia Tech was in the old Metro Conference.
Yes.
Tonight, his son, by the way, 5 for 6 from 3. So final seconds before halftime. Duke with a 20-point advantage. Here's Wood to let it fly, and it's in and out. And a timeout. Duke takes a break here, 13.8. We'll take the timeout as well. The Blue Devils on top by 20. NBA Friday presented by State Farm at 8 o'clock. It's the Thunder and the Timberwolves. And then at 10:30, the Spurs and the Warriors. Coverage tipping off with key NBA Countdown at 7:30.
Well, the Spurs just continue to keep on keeping on. And another Curry in the lineup for Mark Jackson. They love playing for Mark.
Seth Curry back on the floor. He'll drive it. Step back, two-point effort. Well shy. A collision there. And the heave at the buzzer won't go. And we're at halftime. Seth Curry with an outstanding first half, 19. He made more three-pointers in the first half than his dad made in his career. And for the season, averaging 17 points a game, he has already topped that. And Curry's all smiles as we send it to Chris Cotter, Jay Williams, and Bruce Pearl in the studio for our UPS halftime report.
Thank you, Dave. UPS halftime report. Bubble watch all over the place, certainly in Eugene, where Cal is visiting Dana Altman and the Ducks. First half, Oregon already up 12-8. Justin Cobbs is going to drive, but loses the ball. Jonathan Lloyd with the steal finds Tony Woods in the lane.
That's what makes Tony Woods such a good basketball player, to transfer from Wake Forest, running the full length of the floor.
Damian Dotson drives, gets the floater to fall here. Oregon up right now 26-21 at the half, and that game over on ESPN2. Joe Lenardi, latest last 4 in, first 4 out. Temple right now actually making it back in. This is an older graphic here. So Temple is in, and Cal, by the way, is among the first 4 out, fighting for their lives right now. Temple won the Big 5 championship earlier today with a win over LaSalle. the 27th time they've won the Big Five championship.
And 4 out of the last time.
That's Coach
Four out of the
Pearl
last 5, yeah.
right there. And this is Jay Williams right here. What do you make of this Duke game so far, Jay? It's been a blowout, really, from the start. Duke in complete control.
Well, Seth Curry came off that 25-point performance against Maryland, and he's the one guy that you can't leave open. It's going to be hard to beat Duke when you're shooting 80+% from the three-point line.
You bet. Duke has been tested, and now they are rested and playing extremely well in this game at Virginia Tech. I think the big thing for me, 0 3-point shots for Virginia Tech. Duke is getting out there, jumping in the pass lane, making them put the ball on the floor, making Virginia Tech uncomfortable at home.
Let's be honest, Virginia Tech is kind of a one-man show with Eric Green. If he's not killing you, then they're probably not going to have a chance to win the game.
Eric Green with 13 there in the first half, but as you mentioned, 0 for 7 from beyond the arc. Virginia Tech, Duke, 8 out of 9 from three-point range. We got a great Saturday slate for you coming up here. We'll preview a lot of bubble teams and a huge Big East matchup in front of 35,000 plus at the Carrier Dome.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by UPS. Let UPS put the power of logistics to work for you. Welcome back to the UPS Halftime Report.
Earlier tonight on the Deuce, must win for Arkansas at home against Georgia. Tied at 60 late. Arkansas with B.J. Young taking it upon himself. Look at this move, Jay.
That's like a horse shot right there with the scoop.
A scoop and under. So Arkansas up by a deuce. 5 seconds left. Last chance for Georgia. Vincent Williams. How does he get all the way to the rim, Coach?
He gets all the way to the rim, and I think he gets fouled there. You got to make that call. You got to protect the airborne shooter.
Bury it, though. Georgia loses. Arkansas survives. UConn hosting the Bearcats. Shabazz Napier late in this game, as it was back and forth all day long, really took over. UConn down 2. Napier drives. It's a difficult lay-in to tie the game up at 55.
I don't understand why Cincinnati lets him reject the screen, send him towards the screen, and once again, rejects it again, Coach.
Absolutely, again. You got to force him into that screen. That's great coaching by Kevin Ollie.
Good look there at the end of regulation. Couldn't get the fall. We're headed to overtime. Tied at 55 still. Napier's going to pull up for 3. Hits it. Connecticut up by 3. Later in OT, it's UConn up 1. Napier again hits the 3, bombing from distance.
The only word to describe his performance is moxie. And this kid has it.
27 points, 6 3-pointers. UConn goes on to win 73-66. Speaking of the Big East, it doesn't get any bigger than Georgetown and Syracuse. One final time for the Carrier Dome. Saturday at 4 o'clock. And 35,000 plus will be there to watch this one. And what do you think of this, Coach?
Legends playing in this game. Syracuse has dominated this series of late.
Jay Will?
Dante Smith-Rivera, Otto Porter, Markel Starks need to play at a very high level to beat Syracuse in the Dome.
And you can see this has been just an unbelievable series between these two over the years. Very close. Syracuse has gotten the better of Georgetown as of late. Not the only game in the Big East as we take a look at Saturday's slates. Marquette at Villanova, 6 o'clock on ESPN2, Coach.
Well, Marquette, they've never been below 500 since joining the Big East. They got a terrific player in Vanderblue, 15 points. He's 15 for 22 in his last 2 ball games. He can score inside out. And from Bishop Laughlin, J-Bomb Pinkston. He's a big man that can really move his feet. Spin move, take that ball to the basket.
Agile.
For Jay Wright, very agile.
Jay Will, 2 teams you're familiar with on Tobacco Road. NC State and North Carolina, 4 o'clock ESPN.
Well, Mark Godfrey for NC State needs C.J. Leslie not to play like C.J. He needs him to play like Calvin. He needs him to be very aggressive. And I think right now, NC State is firmly in the NCAA tournament. But UNC, a team on the bubble, ever since they went to their smaller lineup, P.J. Harrison at the 4, mismatch city.
Coach, 7 o'clock on ESPN. Revenge game for Florida. Arkansas comes to town.
Well, they were down 17 at halftime because that guy right there, Mayshawn Powell, flat out took over. He was a matchup that Florida couldn't handle on the perimeter or around the basket. But I'll tell you what, Florida's got a couple of weapons. Kenny Boynton, Scotty Wilbekin, 2 really tough guards. Wilbekin's got to find a way to score late. Kenny Boynton shooting less, and Florida is winning more.
Arkansas beat Florida handily back on February 5th. Mizzou at Kentucky, 9 o'clock. They'll tip game day. Will be there at Rupp.
And Missouri coming off that big-time win at home versus Florida. Phil Pressey did a better job of taking care of the basketball. 10 assists in that ball game. They have Lawrence Bowers back as well. It's going to be a major matchup down low for the likes of Kyle Wilcher, Archie Goodwin. Alex Poitras, also number 22. He needs to be a man down low. The big question for this Kentucky basketball team, they must win the games they're supposed to win, and they have to sneak in a win over Missouri, at Arkansas, or Florida to get to be a lock in the NCAA tournament.
And here's Joe Lunardi's first four in Kentucky right now as we speak, among the first four out right there with Cal in action right now over on the Deuce against Oregon. So everybody playing meaningful games tonight, including Temple, who got the win earlier tonight against LaSalle. More UPS halftime report to come.
This halftime report is delivered by UPS. Let UPS put the power of logistics to work for you. This halftime report is delivered by UPS. Let UPS put the power of logistics to work for you.
On February 22nd, our nation's capital hosts a world title fight. Hometown favorite Lamont Peterson, coming off an upset win against Amir Khan, looks to defend his IBF belt against hard-punching knockout artist Kendall Holt.
If you forgot what it's all about, welcome back to Friday Night Fights.
Well, I know what I'm doing on Friday night. Peterson Holt, 9 o'clock on ESPN2. Joe Tessitore loves his Friday Night Fights, and for good reason, as you can see right there. Man, I tell you what, we have bracket busters in basketball. We got them in golf, too. Look at what happened today at the WGC Accenture Match Play Championship. Rory McIlroy, #1 seed, down to a 16 seed. Tiger Woods, #1 seed, he also fell to 16th seeded Charles Howell III. So a couple upsets there. Top 2 ranked players in the world. We had the trade deadline come and go in the NBA. Not a whole lot of big deals. Here's the biggest. J.J. Redick goes from Orlando to Milwaukee, principally for Deron Lamb and Tobias Harris. What do you think of this, Jay Will?
Well, it's a good play for Milwaukee. They can play off guys like Brandon Jennings who can penetrate, kick to J.J. Redick.
There's a former Dookie right there. Here's a couple of current Duke Blue Devils. Mason Plumlee to Seth Curry. He had 5 threes in the first half, 19 points. Duke up big. Second half on the way.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by the Experience Buick Lease. It's a new lease on luxury. And Wendy's, proud sponsor of the 2013 John R. Wooden Men's Player of the Year Award.
Here's Eric Green, a right-wing jumper in the air and good.
Oh, he's feeling it now, folks.
The ACC, where leaders are born.
Welcome back to Thursday Night Showcase, presented by T. Rowe Price. This is the ACC on ESPN, and back in Blacksburg, it is 48-28. We get set for the second half. Dave and Doris with it. And Doris Burke, I don't think Duke could have been hotter from three-point territory. They missed one in the first half.
Wish we could have seen Seth Curry completely healthy all year, because this guy has been amazing through foot and leg injuries. He has been so difficult to contain. As a three-point shooter, he is as lethal as there is in the country. He's got unbelievable range. His teammates do a great job getting him open. That dribble handoff they run to great effect. The nation's leading scorer, well, it's been 5 guys guarding him. All the appropriate switches. 4 different Duke players have guarded him. The switch-outs have been there. They've guarded him with length and athleticism. But he's just good enough, isn't he, Dave O'Brien, to still score 13 points, get to the free throw line 5 times, score against size, length, athleticism. Yes, sir, Mr. Green. It's been a heck of a year.
Curry having another tremendous game. You and I were commenting on this at halftime. We've had a number of Duke games, and he hasn't had anything other than a standout game in every one of them.
You know, and I haven't heard his name for ACC Player of the Year, but he has been as effective, particularly in ACC play, as this guy has been, Mason Plumlee.
Plumlee back to that hook and off target, but tipped out of play by Virginia Tech. As we give you a look at the first half numbers, Duke shooting 60% in the first half, and they were perfect at the line, making 8 of 9 from 3.
24 to zip in terms of three-point score.
In for Curry off the fake. Green hand checks him and fouls him to stop the clock in the opening seconds of the second half. Green picks up his first. Now don't overlook what Mason Plumlee did in the first half. 6 points, 3 blocks, 3 assists, 8 rebounds in 20 minutes.
And that doesn't talk about the hurries or the changed shots.
And there were a number of those. Duke up by 20. Quinn Cook, who was in foul trouble in the first half, he picked up 3 and sat for a long stretch. Curry off the nifty fake. Here's the dish. Hairston on the reverse. Beautifully done.
You get the sense that Josh Hairston, now that he's being forced to play a lot, there's a different confidence level on the offensive end.
Yep. And the way those around the Duke program talk about how Mike Krzyzewski affects that.
Yes.
He makes these guys who not necessarily were thought of in the rotation as starters at the beginning of the year, make them feel now like they're the most important guys on the team.
No question. I had an assistant from Maryland tell me that exact thing. He said he's just brilliant in his ability to get guys to believe that what they do is crucial to the team's success. It takes everybody to make a great team.
He has a complete understanding of that. Mike Krzyzewski bearing down on what would be his 950th win tonight. And in pretty good shape right now. Biggest lead of the game for Duke. Shot clock at 12. Quinn Cook on the baseline. Little teardrop for two.
I tell you, listen, point guards across the country, they have gotten secure in the knowledge that you've got to have that floater. It is such an effective tool. Think about Tony Parker on the NBA level, just masterful with it.
Green fires and hits. Another guy with a lot of variety in his scoring game. 15 for the nation's top scorer.
He reminds me of Eric Murdoch, who used to play at Providence, in the wealth of different ways he could score the basketball.
Hairston left wide open, can't drill the jump shot. I knew you'd get a Providence scorer in there somewhere.
Eric Murdoch played for Rick Barnes and was in the conversation for the nation's leading scorer for a good stretch of his senior season and had a longer NBA career than I think people expected. Yes, I was going to get them on the air.
52-30. Suleiman, another three coming for Duke, and they just don't miss them, do they? 9 out of 10. Wow.
Well, the quality of looks has been extraordinary. Very good screening.
Suleiman is another freshman who's growing before your eyes. He had 16 in the second half against Maryland when they desperately needed him because Plumlee was not producing at that time. Another one for Green. Wow. He drops in 2 more.
Tough shot. Really tough shot.
He has 17, 6 out of 10.
You make a good point about Suleiman. I mean, you know, his resurgence coincided with Kelly's departure, and it's been absolutely critical to them continuing to win games. I don't think if Suleiman was as productive, they wouldn't be in the position they're in.
If you missed the news earlier today, Mike Krzyzewski told us that Ryan Kelly is off crutches. He is running in the swimming pool. 15 minutes yesterday. Cook. A rare miss beyond the three-point line for the Blue Devils tonight. Here's Green trying to push the tempo, but Duke got back and covered defensively. Now he reverses field. Nice dish in for Barksdale for 2. That's the other part of the game for Eric Green. He is their point guard. He averages 4 assists a game.
Triple-digit assists. The next closest guy is at least 40 assists away. I mean, he's not a black hole. He'll create for his teammates.
He had a double-double against West Virginia. 23 points, 10 assists in that game for Green. Plumlee up top. The handoff, Suleiman. Suleiman was in a desperate shooting slump near the top of the ACC when the schedule got underway. 5-game span where he couldn't hit anything. Then he caught fire, rejected by Barksdale as he slaps Cook's shot out of play with 2 on the shot clock. 55-34, 15:36 to go. Eric Green now up to 17 points, averaging 25 a game as he has been cooking in the second half.
Well, he didn't slow down, that's for sure. 13 in the first half, little up fake. Duke doing a nice job just trying to challenge, make him make tough twos. He has made tough twos. They have not put him on the free throw line here in the second half. But again, he is an outstanding passer. He's upward of 4 assists per game.
Look at our Wooden Watch brought to you by Wendy's.
Look at that. The consistency of this 20-plus points in all but 2 games. You noted the 2 teams that did it. Nice play.
Well, they had 2 on the shot clock when they came back into play and nailed it. 57-34. And by the way, just to put the capper on Green, he's hitting 60% of his shots. His teammates only 33% in this game. He stumbles into the lane. He's traveling with it. He thought he was fouled from behind. Arguing his case briefly, 15-16 to go.
I marvel at his stamina. Look at his frame. I mean, he's a pretty lean guy. You're sending multiple defenders. North Carolina, who did one of the outstanding jobs on him, sent 4 different guards at him all night long.
One of the 2 teams to hold him below 20. BYU the other. Thornton on the baseline for Plumlee. He gets into the lane. Nice touch.
Yeah, that's a move that he seems pretty confident in. That jump hook turning over his left shoulder.
8 along with 8 rebounds for Mason tonight, and a foul with 14:47 to go. Back to Plumlee.
And again, another decisive move. This is a guy who I do not think, when he has to think too much, is very good. When he gets into it assertively, he's pretty tough to stop.
Just picked up his 2nd foul. So the Hokies to put it in. Green up top for Wood. He's a good 3-point man. Rankin on the drive, trying to get by Jefferson, travels with it.
Well, look at the size differential. That's where Jefferson could play a role in this team in the future.
He's 6'8".
He's long, he's athletic, he's got unbelievably quick feet, he's a versatile defender. I mean, you get somebody hot in the NCAA tournament, how about sticking Emil Jefferson on him?
Suleiman quickly gets it in the air, around and out. Duke with a comfortable 59-34 lead on the road tonight in the ACC. The Hokies have not only lost 8 in a row, they've dropped 12 of their last 14. Eddie can't find the range. And it gets harder. Duke tonight, they're at Miami in a week, and then at Duke on March 5th. Blue Devils have a big one coming up against Miami at Cameron Indoor. March 2nd, we'll have that for you on ESPN. Dick Vitale will be joining Doris and I. In the corner, wide open Thornton, and yes, another 3. And a timeout. 62-34. Duke has attempted 12 threes. They've hit 10 of them.
Duke is slightly ahead of Virginia in conference games only for threes made. Well, they're going to get some separation after tonight. They are 10 for 12 with Seth Curry in the first half. With Cook, who's so much more offensive-minded. We've talked all year about the kind of shots Mason Plumlee gets for his team. And the amazing thing is how much space there is on all 4 of those ones we just showed you.
And again, Duke has missed only 2 out of 12 all night. It started out with Curry draining them right after the opening tip, and they have not stopped. He has 19 points. Dropping down range, swinging in for the dunk as he slammed it. Plumlee late to get there. He wanted a foul too. 62-36.
Well, redshirt Jimmy, you can see there's some things to build on with Mr. Siberian Reigns.
6'9", their top rebounder. Get 13 boards against both Wake Forest and Maryland, so he can get it done on the glass. Here's Curry, bouncing it back for Plumlee. And a travel or a foul. No, it's personal foul here.
Now watch the roll and the finish with authority. And that he knows 6'10" and a solid shot blocker's coming at him. He leads, no doubt, on that one.
Reigns will pick up his 3rd foul to call there. 8 points, 3 rebounds for him.
First 2 years slowed by foot injuries. He played well last year when Mr. Davila got hurt. He's got potential, the redshirt junior. If he could stay healthy.
Curry held up and fouled there. Personal foul on Rankin. So Duke without a turnover in the last 20 minutes. And only 3 in the game. So Mike Krzyzewski has to be delighted statistically across the board. Total domination by the Blue Devils. That's especially coming off that Maryland loss, which was a grueling, hard ball game to lose. Curry straight on. Yes, a 2-pointer.
Well, I think one of the things about programs that have sustained success, it is very rare that you see them lose back-to-back games. Last time it happened for Duke, 2009.
This Curry's first 2, by the way. It's almost a mild disappointment. The way he shoots it, slapped away by Curry. Reigns wins it back. Johnston back up top here for Robert Brown. They'll set it up with 10 on the shot clock. He'll drive it. Thornton got a hand on it from behind. Now 5 on the shot clock. Rankin back for Brown. The jumper ugly off the side of that backboard. 64-36 Duke. Virginia Tech, conversely, has not made a 3. They are 0 for 10. Curry with a miss. Now tips it up. Benny went 0 for 2 there.
He's frustrated. He had 2 pretty good looks at it.
Sure did. Alex Murphy about to come on for the Blue Devils, the freshman.
Where do you get your offense with Green on the bench?
Eric Green is 17 in the game, and take it away. Here's Curry as Plumlee trailing him. He'll take the hit and go to the line. Fouled from behind by Marshall Wood. 11:19 left here at Blacksburg. All Duke 64-36. Well, Seth Curry in his career against Virginia Tech, about 10 points a game. He has really blown that out of the water tonight with 21. Eric Green back on the floor, right behind him. He has 17 in the game. And Sonia couldn't watch before he hit the line. She has a lot of trouble.
This is superstition. It's got to be.
What do you think? She's been doing this since he was 5 years old?
No question.
Whenever he takes a foul shot? Pretty healthy lead, too. And he makes 1 of 2. Hairston tied up. Possession arrow will move it to the opposite end of the floor. 11:15 left here. 65-36. Virginia Tech with the basketball. And Curry will take a seat.
Yeah, you're not allowed to miss free throws.
You can't.
Take a seat.
Not the way he's shooting it.
Kind of game similar to his brothers.
A handoff for Green. We were wondering just how much, he'd play from here on in. A lot of time, 11 minutes to go. As he slithers in, but can't connect. Rebound tip, no. Plumlee there to tear it down. I mean, he is going after a national #1 scoring honor this year. Does lead the nation with 25 points a game.
I asked you about that in the break because it's true. Listen, Eric Green has been the one bright spot in what has been a tough first year for James Johnson. Obviously, he's got to build up his recruiting classes. But you're right, he's got a chance to achieve something special. This guy paid a price in the summertime. 20,000 makes. He was challenged by James Johnson. He actually went upward of that number. He's still in the gym every day, whether he's got a practice or whether he's got a game, to get some shots and a workout. So you want to honor that effort. At the same time, you got some winnable games on your schedule. You wonder about this guy wearing down.
I wonder, too, is it a hollow feeling when, after tonight you're going to be 11-15, you're going to have a 9-game losing skid, you're in the basement of the ACC. To lead the conference, to lead the nation in scoring, what does that feel like?
Yeah.
Barksdale knocks that down.
I think you have to take some measure of satisfaction from the work you've put in and seeing it play out. But he's been very vocal, saying, I never set out to win a scoring title. I'd trade it all if we could get an NCAA tournament bid.
Yeah. Well, individually, he's had an outstanding season. Good three-point man at 38%. Makes his foul shots 81%. We talked about what a good passer he is. His mom's here tonight. She's seen this act before, though. Her son play well, but Virginia Tech take it on the chin, and a hard foul there as Hairston is slow to get up. They already had injured his thumb in practice last week. That's why he has that wrap on it. 10:16 left here. And that'll be foul number 4 on Van Zegeren. Hard foul.
Cut me, Mick. You got a shot. Maybe drew a little blood.
They get 20 seconds to clean that up and get him back on the court. So they're working furiously there. 10:16 remaining here. Well, two big games on ESPN coming your way Saturday. At 4 o'clock, NC State takes on North Carolina. And at 9, Missouri will take on Kentucky. Saturday Showcase presented by 5 Hour Energy. Saturday Primetime presented by DirecTV. And trainer's done his good work and got him quickly back on.
I think that discussion was they were asking, I think, does James get the choice of who shoots free throws if the shooter can't get back together? So he went back to his assistant coach and says, who's the worst free throw shooter?
Find him for me quickly. Well, Hairston's only 60%. So the Blue Devils on the floor, he's the guy. Thornton at 65% would be next in line.
But just one final point about Eric Green. You know, we talk all the time about the great programs play to a standard, not a score. And we admire teams that play hard regardless of what the scoreboard says. Eric Green does that. You know, he's a prolific scorer, but he's not a black hole. We've talked about his passing ability. So, listen, he's playing to his own standard.
Right now, he's still 8 below his average as we approach 10 minutes to go in the contest. Green on the drive to his left. Gives it up for Johnston. Can't drain that. Barksdale plucks the rebound and banks it in.
See what I mean? Like, Green's not hunting shots. He's not sitting there going, I'm going to get my 25 regardless. I like that. That's the case in point. He's driving. He's making the right pitch to the corner.
Barksdale's had a good night on the glass. Plumlee drives by him, though. The kick here from Murphy. Barksdale with a rebound. Taken away by Thornton, but he commits the reach-in foul. And a 28-point Duke Blue Devil lead. Our leading scorers in the ACC and what they are doing. Green with 25. Plumlee at 18. And Curry at 17.
What do you think?
They've done tonight. Seth Curry 22.
What do you think of the ACC Conference Player of the Year race? Do you think Shane Larkin's got a legit shot?
I do, and Green with a fall away here and knocks down a three-pointer. That gets him to 20. I think Larkin at the beginning of the season was an afterthought for a lot of people who cover the ACC the same way Miami was. Remember,
Yes.
Miami, it was only 3.5 weeks ago they finally got into the top 25.
Right.
But he's the best player on that team. And they are 13-0 in the ACC. He has to be in that discussion.
No question. And he is the guy that makes it work. We think of all the ball screens that he is masterful in.
The bounce for Plumlee, the leaner, and offensive foul. They get Mason Plumlee with that personal. We were talking about Miami a little bit earlier, and where Joe Lunardi sees the #1 seeds. He has Duke still. Out west is the #1. Miami in the east.
Well, a team that can get back there, you wonder about Michigan, Michigan State. How does that brutal Big Ten play out over the course of the last couple of weeks here?
Well, great games, but they continue to beat each other up. Barksdale draws the foul. He'll go to the line.
Did you see the Big Ten sold out its tournament early?
Yeah. Top 7 in the ACC now. Miami at 13-0. Duke right behind them at 9-3. And I say right behind them in the standings. Going to be a long shot for Duke to catch them.
And Carolina, now that they've gone to that smaller lineup, starting to put things together. You know, you like Hubert on the defensive end of the floor, but you're basically playing 5-on-4 on the offensive end.
Well, we'll see Carolina against NC State. It's always an entertaining matchup. That will be from the Smith Center on Saturday afternoon. We'll have it for you at 4 o'clock.
You know, we talked about the level of distaste that the Duke fans, that the Maryland fans have for Duke. You get the feeling that NC State fans, Carolina fans have similar sentiment for each other.
I think it's along those lines. Yeah. 8.5 minutes to go here. And an impressive night for Duke on the road. Curry gives it up into the corner. The jumper on the way. Rebound tipped on high. Green gets through everybody and lays it up and in.
Listen, how fast is that guy changing ends? I talked about getting him in transition. He's got 22 now, the nation's leading scorer.
He got off to a slow start tonight. Looked for a while he would not get to 20 points. It's a 9-0 run for the Hokies. Curry off the window. No, the rebound tipped up and in by Hairston.
Yeah, he just feels Hairston is comfortable now. He knows his role. He's getting more confidence. But watch the nation's leading scorer change ends. His MO all year has been, I'm going to get my teammates involved early. But look at this. I mean, listen, you had Suleiman neck and neck with him. And he's got good speed.
So a timeout, 70-47, the Blue Devils. Just under 8 minutes to go here. ESPN College Basketball is available live anytime, anywhere on your computer, tablet, or smartphone at watchespn.com and with the Watch ESPN app.
Great app. And the only thing that's equal to that is Synergy being available on the iPad now. That's huge. A little less heavy.
The Blue Devils have not lost back-to-back ACC games since 2009. And, of course, coming off the bitter loss to Maryland. Then the Terps went and got beat by Boston College. Rankin tripped up and fouled by Suleiman, and we'll take a timeout. Under 8. Duke with a healthy lead on the road tonight in the ACC.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is presented by T. Rowe Price. Understanding the connections of a complex global economy. Invest with confidence. And in part by Ford Service. Keep your vehicle well with the works. Now at your local Ford dealer.
Chris Cotter back in studio. We've got a good one over on ESPN2. Had a good night over there on the Deuce. This one's Cal and Oregon tight. E.J. Singler with the long three-pointer here. 37 all for a couple of teams, especially Cal on the bubble. Joe Burton and his sweet haircut there. Oregon State taking on Stanford coming up on the U. And then Matthew Dellavedova, a little bit of a different coif. BYU and St. Mary's on ESPN2. Both coming up at the top of the hour. Back to David Doris.
Chris, thank you very much. 7:42 remaining here in Blacksburg, Virginia, and fumbled out of bounds by the Hokies. It's been that kind of night for them.
That has to be a first. A host talking about two different haircuts.
Yes. How appropriate do you think that is, Doris?
I'm just, it's making me want to see the haircuts.
Well, me too. I think we can't from here, so Chris is teasing us a little bit. He's nothing about appropriate. How about that? Plumlee right down the lane, a thunder dunk. 72-47. He has 12, 10 rebounds. He is now 3 rebounds shy of 1,000 in his career. Barksdale on the baseline switches into. He's had a good solid game for the Hokies. 5 for 5 shooting it. And a dozen points. Under 7. The handoff for Thornton. Back up top for Hairston. He's going to let it fly, and it's in and out. Green with a bounce here. Green with 22 points, 3 off his average. Trying to equal that right now, but he front-rimmed it. Suleiman has 10. Hairston has 11. Curry 22. So the Blue Devils with 4 men in double figures.
One of only 2 ACC schools that average, 5 guys average double digits, so good balance.
They get so much scoring out of their starting 5. Plumlee takes the bump, and he'll go to the line.
So watch Mr. Plumlee right here. Well, clearly I'm exceptional at the telly tonight. You take a chance defensively if you're Barksdale.
I'll take a listen. Some good drawing by you on that audio. 6:14 to go. 72-49. And Plumlee to shoot. ACC Player of the Year candidate. I wonder, are we talking about Plumlee and Curry basically on an even keel as far as ACC Player of the Year?
I feel like they are, because I know Plumlee got out of the gates great to start the year in the non-conference. I think some of it will depend on how the voters vote. Is this conference Player of the Year for conference games only. But I think Larkin's got to be in the discussion. I think Eric Green, I know the record is poor, but what he is doing is special. He has to be in the conversation.
I would have bet money at the top of the ACC season that C.J. Leslie was going to be in that conversation.
No doubt. Just too inconsistent. I mean, there's stretches where not only is he the best player on his team, but he's the best player on the floor and unguardable, and then he could disappear.
On a topic of unguardable, Duke threes tonight. 11 for 15 for the Blue Devils. They have sizzled since the get-go. Their season high is 12. Raines backing him. Plumlee went down. He hit the shot.
I love it. Good no call. I mean, there's just Brian O'Connell just gets sort of motioning. Get up off the floor.
Good job by this crew tonight, led by Ed Corbett, Doug Sermons, and Brian O'Connell. Curry off the fake. Can't shoot the shot. We're under 5 to play here. Suleiman penetrating, swings to his right, beautifully done.
He is explosive. And that is not going to his strong hands. That makes it more impressive. You're driving into what should be the teeth of the help defense.
He's had another good game. 15 for the freshman Suleiman. 78-51. Again, Eric Green with 22 points to lead the Hokies. Wood lines it up, had a good look, and can't hit it. That's been the story, not just tonight, but all season long for Virginia Tech. If it's not Green, I mean, they're 1 for 15 beyond the three-point line. So an ugly number, backdoor cut, Suleiman on the reverse for 2. They get to 80. Duke's been able to score any which way they wanted since the very opening moments. And they have blown out Virginia Tech here tonight. So the Blue Devils about to improve to 23-3 and 10-3 in the conference. They will host Boston College this weekend. Poked away by Suleiman, deflected by Raines, out of play off the Hokies. So Duke continues to get after it on the defensive end, even though they've salted this one away a long time ago.
Chris Cotter in studio. Joe Lenardi has the Cal Bears among the first 4 outs at the moment in his bracketology. That may change by the end of the night. Over on the Deuce, Bears, Ducks tied at 41. Just under 5 minutes left to play. Dave, Doris.
Thanks, Chris. A little disappointing no talk about haircuts, but it's 80-51 with 3:22 left. And Murphy into the ball game. And draws the foul on a terrific drive. So Duke just continues to impress how hard they're playing, even though the starters are on the bench largely.
This guy, he just, I'm telling you, I keep preaching that he's got talent and ability. How about this? At his size, with that handle, to use the rim and get opposite. The skill is there. He's got to start proving it consistently in games.
Rhode Island native and a nifty three-point play. Now Plumlee is on the bench. Talking about Mason. Marshall, his brother, is in the game. So Mason's done. 13 points, 12 rebounds, 5 assists, and 3 blocks. So he stuffed that stat sheet.
He was terrific. His activity level and assertiveness and decisiveness with the ball was really good.
Very tough leaner. Tipped up and in.
They thought that was in the cylinder, and they might be right.
Barksdale gets credit for the basket. So the lead at 30 for the Blue Devils. Well, that means that Plumlee remains 1 rebound shy of 1,000. He'll get the chance to do that, it would appear, at home at Cameron Indoor. Here's Thornton up high. Here's Murphy again. Yes, a follow-away 3.
See what I mean? Just quick catch, get it off in a hurry. That was under duress of a challenge.
Look at this, 75% from 3. That's not just taking 5 or 6, that's taking 16.
Yeah.
Well, quite a bounce-back effort for him. For Mason Plumlee, after a very rough game against Maryland, when she was exhausted, everybody said he was, he admitted as much. Totally different energy.
Yeah, oh, there's no question. No question. And listen, think back to the North Carolina game. Mike Krzyzewski had told Janine Edwards before that game that he was concerned about the matchup with Maryland.
Marshall Plumlee on the spin. Kick out for Murphy. Under 2 to play here. The 12 made threes for the Blue Devils ties their season high. Batted away and stolen by Brown. Now the bounce. Eddy goes up, draws the foul, he'll go to the line. Jarrell Eddy, whose play has been spotty this season, even though he's averaging 13 a game, with a nice move there to get the basket, he'll go to the line.
Where he could be effective. How about this adjustment through contact?
Eddy just 2 for 9 shooting it tonight, however. He's really struggled all season long. In the last 5 games before tonight, 3 for 12, 1 for 9, 4 for 16, 1 for 5, 4 for 12.
Brutal.
So Eddy will take a seat, but Virginia Tech on the way to their 9th consecutive defeat. Sports Center is coming up next. Murphy bouncing for Plumlee on the baseline. He'll go to the line to shoot a pair. A NBA Friday coming your way, presented by State Farm at 8. The Thunder take on the Timberwolves. Then at 10:30, it's the Spurs and the Warriors. Coverage tipping off with key NBA countdown at 7:30. These are the Duke players who were traded today.
Well, the most notable is obviously J.J. Redick. He's getting paid very well to come off the bench in Orlando. He's having his best year. You will not outwork J.J. Redick. And he did not offer any assurances, interestingly, that he would re-sign in Milwaukee. And he has got a skill. He's much better off the dribble and defensively than he was when he started in the league. I think Stan Van Gundy helped him on the defensive end of the floor.
You said no one's going to outwork him. Thornton from the corner can't drop in the 3. Rebound up and no good. Tipped out of play. It'll be the Hokies ball here, 86-56.
Yeah, boy, oh boy, you know, Kevin Durant, what a year he's having. Tune in tomorrow night at 8 o'clock, because in any other year, he'd be the MVP of the NBA. But LeBron James is just doing such extraordinary things.
Racer on the drive. Here's the long one on the way by Wood. And tipped out of play, minute 7 left. And the Hokies will have the basketball and see what they've done from 3, 1 for 16. Night and day between what Duke and the Hokies have done beyond that 3-point line. Patrick dumping it down low for Donlin, so the extra's getting a chance to play here.
Shot clock was not working there for a couple of seconds.
But the game clock continues to roll. A 30-point Duke lead. Very, very impressive bounce back tonight for the Blue Devils, wouldn't you say?
Oh, really impressive. Their energy from the jump, their execution on the offense again, getting quality shots.
Now this will be career win number 950 for Mike Krzyzewski. And the 23rd of the season for the Blue Devils. They will improve to 23-3. Murphy getting inside for 2.
Which Mike Krzyzewski is now 2 wins away from tying Dean Smith for the all-time lead in ACC wins.
That's correct. Get a chance to inch a little closer this weekend against Boston College as well. Racer tripped up and fouled. 6.6 to go. So 877th win as the Duke head coach, 3rd most in NCAA history at one school. Of course, Jim Boeheim has won over 900. 910 now at Syracuse.
All of those winters, Syracuse, New York.
Yes, I shared a few of those.
Yes, you did.
With Coach Boeheim. Amazing job there. And Duke with an outstanding win tonight. Curry winds up leading the way with 22 points. Made 5 of 6 from 3. Suleiman at 17, Plumlee 13, and 12 rebounds. Sports Center coming your way next. For Doris Burke and our entire production crew who did a terrific job tonight, I'm Dave O'Brien. Thanks for joining us. Again, we send it to Sports Center as we say so long from Blacksburg, Virginia. Good night, everybody.